fantastic lunch.
Festive lunch?
Festive lunch. Festive gamble. I think
I've
we're
already.
back. Are we back? Michael, are we on?
Yeah,
All
hide
right,
the
here we
mince
go.
hide the mince pies. Put
I
the
think so. Let's put it all away. Digital Ramblers, welcome back to another episode of the Digital Ramble. Thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, JJ, we're starting a new series. It's we're gonna get festive, but we're still gonna keep on a tech theme. And on this upcoming episode and a couple to follow in the lead up to the Christmas holidays, we're going to share with you some of our top tech tips for Christmas.
Yeah, and with the tech tips, man, a lot of them are questions that we get on a regular basis. And so these tech tips are expansive, and I think a couple of bullet points that we want to cover in this in these episodes that we're going to be doing is like maybe tech tips in the pre-wire phase, or maybe during the installation phase, and then maybe on the support side, because there's quite a bit of information that's useful and easy that homeowners should be able to do on their own.
Yes, and that's always been a theme on the Digital Ramble, is we've always encouraged people to go a bit deeper into the app, learn the system themselves, after it's been handed over, try and discover more about your smart home after the pros left, because if the pros done their job, they should have left you with something that is easy to use and something that is, product that you might not have to lean on them all the time.
Yeah, but during this tech tip information that we're going to be dropping on people, a lot of that tech tip is if you don't know, you don't even know to ask. And so a lot of these tech tips are going to be even from the jump, from the dirt, from whenever you're just starting out building a house, or maybe during the installation phase. And these are a lot of questions that we get, and sometimes it's after the fact. I know, Gamble and audience, just to let you know, I do have a special guest joining us today. So they have really good, impactful tech tips, particularly on the front side of installation. And so they are going to drop some crucial information today. So, man, I got three, Gamble. I know you got three good ones. We know our special guest has a good one. So we got 7 teed up, ready to go, out the dough.
Well, let's go then. Let's get straight into it. Let's push that button, Mike. Right, JJ, you've kind of instigated this episode with some categories, and I'm glad that you've corralled me into 3 categories, because I could have gone anywhere here. I've got a lot of tech tips I'd like to share, but I'm glad that you've set some boundaries. And the first category for the tech tips is to do with pre-wire, the early stages of a project, and probably one of the most important stages of a home technology project is that pre-wire, which is crucial for getting the infrastructure in place. What have you got?
For on the pre-wire phase of things, I'm always getting the question, JJ, we want to mount a TV on that wall. Where does the electrical need to go for the television? And that's a fantastic question. And there's a couple of factors that come into play with that. And the first basis that you need is, what size television am I going to be using on that wall? And whenever we're pre-wiring for a home, you want to err on the side, for us, on the smaller size, because a larger size you can always make some adjustments, cover up if necessary. If something's a little too low, you can go bigger and cover it up. And so for televisions, and for us, customary TV sizes are anywhere from like a 55 to a 65, is what we kind of discussed a couple of weeks ago on our previous episodes. And what we are telling our clients is to figure out where you want the top of your television to be, and then to put the electrical outlet about 2 inches below the top of the television. And the reason being for that is if you ever need to access the electricity in the future, you can easily get on a sturdy ladder and gracefully unplug it and plug it right back in with ease, as well as it's up out of the way from wherever that bracket is going to be mounted below it. And, it just makes for a lot cleaner look from where if you think about it, televisions, they usually pitch down from wherever they're placed. And if you have an electrical outlet that's on the bottom and your TV is supposed to be pitched down, that plug that's pitching out or sticking out from the wall usually always complicates that aspect and so of the installation. So my tech tip in the pre-wire for knowing where to put your outlet for the television is wherever the top of that TV is, come about 2 inches below that, and you're golden.
Yeah, that's good advice, and just to maybe apply a bit of a UK twist to it, I'd also do that drop down a couple of inches from the top of the screen, but then I'll also go to either left or right. So think about, for me, I always put it like in the top corner, just to avoid cabling where there might be some drilling happening. So if your power cablings come from below or above, and you're going to be mounting a bracket into that wall, it kind of also avoids that vertical cable that might be hidden in the wall. If you've gone off to one side, left or right, then it may avoid any accidental drilling through of cabling.
I love it. And as you talk about that, I can expand upon that even more. And this could be just a whole tech tip on pre-wired just for this one topic, because there's a lot of tips associated with that in the sense of like, where's the entrance to the room? And do I want, if I'm looking at the profile of that television, then let's put the outlet on the opposite side so it's
Yes.
less seen, And so tech tip, height, but if you don't know, hire a home tech pro. That'll be the tech tip of the whole.
For sure. For sure.
Go ahead, Campbell.
For my pre-wire tip, it's more about future readiness. And there's also a common phrase that's used in our industry. So one thing I've heard a lot over the years is the most expensive cable that you can run in your home is the one you forgot to run. That's the most expensive cable, because when you've come to installing the tech and you realize, oh, we didn't put a power outlet in, we didn't put Cat6 Ethernet cable in, we didn't put coaxial cable in for an aerial, we didn't put a cable for the doorbell. It seems like quite a minor detail at the time when lots of other things are happening. Walls are being built, windows are being fitted, decisions are being made about electrical sockets, light switches, but omitting just a very simple cable for an essential service, and it could be a security service, it could be entertainment, to get that cable in retrospect is very, very difficult, very messy. Undoing, removing, drywall, plasterboard, cutting into finished walls that have maybe had wallpaper or paint. If you can future prepare, even if it's not with a cable, but you can prepare with like a piece of conduit or piping or ducting, you can get that cable in later. And a classic for using ducting is maybe you have your television outlets at a low level in a say in your living room, TV room. You could have the cables come in low level. But in the future, if you're going to have the TV up high, why not just prepare a simple piece of conduit or ducting in the wall that you can later pull through an HDMI cable, a power cord, an Ethernet cable. So get your future readiness hat on and think about where devices might live in the future.
Gamble, we do quite a bit of that here in the States as well. And we call it flex tubing. And we'll run it from where the service is coming in from the exterior of the house to where our home run panel is, where all of our distribution is. So that in the future, if they need to run something like a fiber optic, if there's a specific fiber optic that the service provider needs to run, then that can be done. We also have it running from the attic down to the central home. Look, wait, we got somebody. This is our special guest here, Gamble.
Oh, I
Dun,
thought it
dun,
was somebody
dun,
joining us from the North
dun.
Pole or something.
No.
I thought you'd arrange
You
like
thought that-
Father Christmas to join us.
It is somebody equally as special who
and
has
and and
many
far north and in the
in
north.
far north, yes,
Yeah.
yes, with many gifts, of
Equally,
technology. Oh, there she is. Uh-oh. Sounds like she's coming from the North Pole there.
I think
Let me
she's
see.
encrypted. She's
It is. It does sound encrypted. Like, is she there? Amanda, ladies and gentlemen, those new to the Digital Ramble. Joining us today is Amanda Wildman, owner of TruMedia, out of Ada, Michigan, in the U.S. Amanda, are you
maybe
there?
Amanda can rejoin the call, and we can keep going with our tech tips, JJ.
All right,
Will we do
very
that?
good. We'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the
All
next
right.
the next
Hi.
category, JJ, was an installation tech tip.
Yeah, absolutely. Installation. During installation, and this is a big one, and this is a no-brainer tech tip that should not be a tech tip. It should just be common, out of the box, do it all the time. But unfortunately, it's easy to let's just get it going, and we'll have to worry about it later. But don't do that. This next tip is absolutely crucial, and it's an easy one. And I got it right here. I don't know if y'all can read that or not. No, you can't because it's blurred out. But it's a password. Always change your password, your admin, and your password. And with a 16 letter phrase that is mixed with characters, as well as numerals. That's all you need for all of your accounts. It's a 16 letter phrase that's mixed with words and letters here. Let me turn this back thing off here. Let me see. Something as easy as that. Change your password. Password, not
So
password.
what are you
Password.
saying then? Are you saying use one regular password, which could be a phrase with characters and numbers and symbols embedded in a familiar phrase? You've just got to
Yeah.
remember one password. Are you endorsing that rather than having 550 passwords in a encrypted
It could.
locker or something?
Yeah, I like the idea of having a couple of different passwords still, but I like the phrase where I can actually reduce my 50 passwords down to maybe two or three, and I can have one for different types of accounts that I use at either in business or in personal,
Do you know
and so I can keep some separation there.
what's always made me chuckle in the all the years I've been doing what we do is I often find the product with the most default basic password, admin or admin password or something. It's always security devices. Why are security devices, specifically cameras? Why have they got the most stupidest
Basic,
default password?
generic,
Yeah. Why?
because we allow it. You know,
Maybe
nobody.
it's to encourage you to change it. Maybe that was their plan all along.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They were doing that.
Shall we try and get our guest back on? Shall we try and get our
Let's
guest
see what we
back on?
got here.
Let's bring in Amanda.
Take two, and Amanda will join us here after she unmutes her microphone and see if we can hear from her. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, go ahead.
Right, we'll come back. Okay, so I'll give you my installation tip and sum it up with two words: size matters. Okay, size matters. JJ talked about TV sizes and getting that right, and that's quite a common thing that we've talked about over the years on the Digital Ramble. My concern is always about the amount of size you allocate for your centrally located equipment. Over the years, I've seen huge areas assigned for equipment, plant rooms assigned for racks and racks of equipment, which for me, there is a place for that. In large projects, you'd need large equipment spaces. What worries me more is in the mass-built homes, they allocate zero space for central equipment. They don't even encourage central equipment. So if you're refurbishing a house, renovating a house, or building a new house, please put it in your itinerary of things to discuss with your team. Where is my equipment going to live? Where's my internet service provider's router? Where is my network switch? Where's my CCTV recorder? Because if that things are not thought about and where they're going to live, then it just ends up in a mess in a cupboard, cables draped from a wall, cables linked between rooms because some equipment's in one room, some equipment's in another. Identify a common place for equipment, allocate some space. My reference is always, if we go 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, at least I've got something to work with. If I've got 600 millimeters by 600 millimeters square, I can work with that. I can put some equipment, tidy up your wiring. But if you give me 0 by 0 by 0, come on, you've got to give the pro a fighting chance, allocate them some space, even in the smallest project, an apartment, all the way up to a large property. The space should scale up based on the size of the project. I think we've got Amanda now with us.
I hope you guys do. I'm so sorry.
We do. It's
hey,
fine.
no worries.
Can you hear
Welcome
me
aboard.
Okay? Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Kris, it's so great to see you. I haven't seen you in forever and a
I
day.
know. It's been a tough time for it. None of us have been able to catch up like we used to.
I know. I can't wait to see you again in person. I just got to see JJ at the Total Tech Summit, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so good to see industry peeps. So thank you guys for inviting me. And I know you wanted a tech tip. So the tech tip that I'm going to give you actually is completely related to the problems I just had. I am actually remote right now, so I don't have control over the Wi-Fi or the internet network that I'm on. And so my pro tip is that it takes a lot of wire to have a really good wireless system. And what I mean by that is the devices, we always tell everybody, the devices that aren't moving on a day-to-day basis, so like your televisions that you want to connect to the internet, or your computers, or your desktops that you want to connect to the internet, or if you want to connect like that washing machine or dishwasher or anything like that, as we're getting more smart devices, anything that's not moving around on a daily basis, hardwire that directly to your network. And what that does then is that frees up the wireless capacity in your home so that you don't have the issues that I just had trying to join your call where you don't have enough bandwidth to get video, or like I could hear you guys but I couldn't see you guys, kind of a thing, and you're not having to rely on unstable networks. So I always tell everyone that it takes a lot of wire to have a good wireless network. And so if they aren't pulling an ungodly amount of data wire when you're building like a new house, or if you're doing a remodel and you have the wires already open and you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much wire, they're not pulling enough. Like, I just don't think you can have enough good wire for good infrastructure. So that's my tip.
I think what's worth highlighting as well, the actual cable that's being used for this to deliver that wired for Wi-Fi experience, it's very inexpensive in the grand scheme of your project. Cat 6 cable, Ethernet cable is cheap.
Yep.
So
I've never
it
had
in.
somebody tell me when a phone call, like when a Zoom call, when they're doing an important call, breaks up, that they're like, yeah, I wish that I'm so sorry that I spent extra money on cable.
That never is the problem. It's always the opposite. You're absolutely right, Amanda, and that is a fantastic tech tip. Is make sure that you have the appropriate infrastructure in place whenever you're building a home, and that is not the place to skimp. Is on the pre-wire. Gamble, you're absolutely right and correct as well. But this is the most affordable infrastructure to put into your home, but could be one of the most expensive mistakes after your home is built. If you
Yeah.
cannot communicate, devices in your home cannot communicate
And
reliably.
let's
So,
put it
man,
into perspective as
fantastic
well.
tip.
Put it in perspective. It's a non-negotiable in a commercial building, but yet it seems to be flexible in a domestic setting. Crazy.
Insane.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. That was a
Hey, Amanda.
surprise. I didn't know you were coming on. That's great.
Yeah.
That's part of my
Absolutely.
Christmas.
Take care.
Have a great show.
Thanks for joining us, Amanda. You take care.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, JJ, that was a great surprise. I'm so glad you invited Amanda on. And if people want to learn more about Amanda, we did an episode probably about 3 years ago, maybe, 3 years ago, I'd say, maybe 4 years ago. And Amanda was a guest on the show when we went to a CEDIA Expo in Denver.
Yeah, Gamble, she's just such an influencer in our industry. She's a lady that really understands technology well and knows how to communicate it. And she works very closely with designers. I mean, she was, I don't know, a powerful woman in CE in 2022. So this year, she's very well recognized in our industry. So much fun to have her on our show. Twice.
Yeah.
It's special.
Okay, so we've got two
special.
more to do, JJ, one each. So
All
the
right.
final category you chose was aftercare or post installation, after everything's done.
And this is a basic one. It's a super easy one, and it's a tip because we get this kind of call all of the time, and usually a client thinks it's a service call, like I need to pay somebody to come out to my house, and honestly, if you feel comfortable enough, at least, I mean, if you're going to pay somebody, at least be sure and mess it up rather than not even try. It couldn't get any worse than what it might be already. And so one of the main questions that we get, Gamble, is that my cable box worked last night, and now this morning I'm trying to watch and I have no sound, or vice versa. I have no picture. What gives? I don't know what the problem is. And usually, and the reason I'm picking on a cable box is because that's like number one in the charts of devices that have this kind of problem. But pretty much use this with all tech problems before you go to step two. And I'm going to break this up into two things, because the number one rule that I learned in school whenever I was doing technology school was make sure it's plugged in. So tech tip, number 3A, make sure the device is plugged in. If it worked last night and it's not working this morning, any device that it might be, just check, follow the cord both ways. Make sure it's plugged in on this side and plugged in on the other side. And then the other thing is if it worked last night and it doesn't work this morning, just power cycle. And what I mean by power cycle means just unplug it, plug it back in, give it about 6 or 7 minutes to find itself, cross your fingers, and then try it again. And most of the time it works. And yeah, that's my tech tip.
I say tech tip 3C? Please know the difference between power cycle and factory reset. Please don't factory reset. Please don't factory reset things. That really messes my day up when you factory reset things.
Especially, capital C. This needs to be its own tech tip, Campbell.
Just off, on, not press and hold for 10 seconds. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No. Okay, yeah, I'm glad we put an asterisk, clarify, bold.
Yeah.
Michael, we need bold, bottom third, do not factory reset. Thank you very much. All right, go.
Okay, last one for me. So, aftercare. And this could be years after you've had your installation. Who knows? You might not even be in contact with your pro. You know, we don't still have relationships with every customer we've ever done an installation with. Some we go in, we do the work, they pay us, we leave. We never hear from them again, and that's great. Some are more needy than others. We've all got that customer who phones every day. But what I would like to highlight is, please, if you've got any technology in your home of a reputable brand, speak to the manufacturer, use the help feature in the app, use the tech support options on their websites. You've purchased, for example, a Google, a Nest, an Amazon, a Sony, a Samsung product. They really should be one of your first points of call, not always the installer. Distinguish the difference between the installation professional and the manufacturer of the equipment. Both will want to help. One might be able to help you quicker and more efficiently and out of hours. So just think about not just WhatsApping your pro at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. Oh, my TV's not working. Come on. Quick Google search. Maybe there's some support in the app. Maybe there's some tips in a forum. If you can't get the reply back from your pro at 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening when he's having dinner with his family. That may have happened this weekend.
Yeah, that might happen this weekend. You sound a little flush about the whole thing, Campbell.
Well,
I mean, you look adjust your color a little bit there, bro. I mean, you look like a.
Yeah, that's
okay,
it.
Okay.
I've got it on my chest now.
All right, there you go.
I've said it. I've been wanting to say that for 153 episodes.
Man, that's like a gamble ramble. I see what you did there. You snuck an old school gamble ramble. Let the cannons fire.
There you go.
No, that's a good one, Gamble. I mean, the tips that we have dropped today are extremely impactful and easy to apply in a variety of different applications. And I think that we've said it. We've dropped these tech tips over our 150 plus episodes. That if you want to see any of our previous episodes, check us out on our website at digitalrambleshow.com. Or you can check us out on 11 different podcast streaming services, Spotify being one of the biggest. And if you're in the U.S., I'm with Gamble right now. We're neck and neck into listenership, and he's 1 point ahead of me. So all the U.S. friends, if you could share, and I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to beat him in listenership. But the tech tips that we've dropped have just been sprinkled across all of our episodes, and now here, the last of 2022, we're going to put them all in one nice package for you of some of the top tech tips that we've had and the questions that we've had over the years, and share them with you. But yeah, Gamble, that's some great easy information, and I say it's easy because we do it every day, but in honesty, it's questions that clients have on a daily basis, and yeah, I think that's just easy.
Yeah, right, and this is an episode that you can interact with. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, after you've hit the like button, then also leave a comment. Have you got a tech tip, that you want to share, something that you've experienced? Maybe you're an installer, maybe you're a homeowner, but what's helped you overcome a big or small challenge with technology? Maybe there's a tip that you can share with our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for our special guest, Amanda Wildman.
Yeah, that was great.
TruMedia dropping in today. Check her out on Instagram. She has an absolutely fantastic Instagram page that she updates with a lot of knowledge about shades and interior decorating and working with builders. Very impactful influencer there. So, all right, Gambler. All right, Michael. I think we're good. Yeah. Are we there? Is it time?
I'm going to have to find a guest for next week, am I? I'm going to surprise you.
Yeah. All right, let's see what you can do. I don't know, man. That's pretty that's pretty good guess.
The bar's high. The bar's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, friends. Thank you so much. We appreciate y'all joining us again for another episode here at the Digital Ramble Show. And if you don't know, gamble. If you don't know,
don't phone your home tech pro at 7 p.m. Hire a home tech pro.
Gamble. All right, friends. Take care. Bye.